But usually, I think we talked about EtherCAT, and Hans said, well, the PC and EtherCAT was already there 20 years ago. Well, there was something else already there, and this was TwinCAT, because TwinCAT is also for many years available. In the past, TwinCAT 2, which is still there, but now TwinCAT 3. TwinCAT 3 is developing, although it's always the same TwinCAT 3, and now a new build shows up, 4026, and I was told that customers look particular for this build, which is released this summer. Yes. So what's new, Bela?
So first of all, you're totally right. It's released in June this year, and we have quite a high number of new features being available with build 4026. Today I would like to concentrate on two of them.
All right.
So the first one is based on the Visual Studio 2022 integration, which we have already presented. The new Visual Studio enables the user to, for the first time, use a 64-bit process.
Oh, that's what people are waiting for, don't they?
Yes, because you have a lot more memory available for loading huge TwinCAT projects or a summary of more than only one project in one Visual Studio instance.
Okay, this is, I think, a real trend. Like the CPUs are all 64-bit rated now, same now for the Visual Studio. True. But what is the second highlight you want to tell us?
The second highlight is the package management, which means that we have in the future, as TwinCAT is already pretty modular, we are still separating further into packages, and this makes the handling of TwinCAT versions much easier, because you, for example, can have the PLC engineering exchanged and replaced by a newer version, although the main TwinCAT function will stay the same.
So they're smaller in size, they're easier to install and to update, and you just pick the package you need.
Yes, absolutely right. There will be totally new workflows actually, which are available based on the package management. So for us, it was always a task to enable the customer to get access early to test versions, and this is what we are going to do in the future. We will have a separate way of accessing these test versions, and those test versions can simply be installed by the customer. If they, for example, would like to test a new feature on the PLC, this will be easily possible.
So they just grab the PLC package basically, and these are what you call the pioneer customers, right?
Absolutely right, yes.
Well, what about people like myself, the normal guys? So what do they do?
So we have two different feeds. One is the Pioneer feed, it's the testing feed called, and the other one is the standard feed. And this standard feed is usually used by the customer. It's pre-configured, so you don't have to change anything, and it's based on the version which we internally fixed and test in combination. So although we have this flexibility, we still have the system tested as the customers are used to in combination, and they can still use this standard feed and download those packages and functionalities.
Now I understand why customers are waiting for that. Usually they always wait for new features, what we add and add and add, but now you optimize also the standard installation process as well as the backbone Visual Studio.
Absolutely.
Well, Bela, many thanks for this insight. We auto-tune motion products. And in order to explain this, I got two experts with me, Daniel and Pascal. So we talk about auto-tuning. So let's say, when and what is this all about?
The auto-tuning is an automatic function to optimize servo drives.
Nothing with cars, right?
No.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with automotive, nothing with cars. We only tune servo axes and try to optimize them. This is necessary, or each customer has the need to optimize the axis. He wants to avoid vibration, resonances, and instability of the axis, because if that's possible, the product quality is better, the quantity can be also higher, and we can increase the lifetime of the mechanical parts because we do not have overshooting and stuff like that. So there are a lot of benefits of tuning axis.
But I think that requires a lot of expertise. I think there is the senior engineer with 150 years of experience who then manipulate all the little push buttons and tune it. But now you add auto, which I think is automatic, right? So what is now necessary? What skills?
So Well, Ronald, in general, it is still a little bit necessary to have small expertise
Yes,
in
okay.
drive tuning, right? Especially because for the drive commissioners, it is a big effort to know all the parameters what you have to set up, right? Today, the TwinCat Bode plot is helping you. So we have an excitation with different frequencies for the drive, and then we get a feedback with amplitude and phase, and then the expert knows exactly, oh, this curve, I have to tune these parameters, right? And of course, then you need this 150 years experience,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
But now it is really a one-click tuning. So you have the possibility to choose your drive, and then one click, and then we have multiple excitation, so it's very quick to get a response. So it's easy to make this really in a machine for multiple axes.
Okay.
And so that makes life really, really easy, right?
Now, if it's that easy, basically one click, so what is all optimized, Daniel?
As Pascal already mentioned, we do a frequency analysis of the axis, and we are getting out a phase response and a gain response. And with these curves, the software can find out the inertia of the axis, or if it's a linear motor, we find out the mass, the moved mass. This is the first one. Furthermore, we can see in this response, is there a resonance?
Okay.
Can be. If so, then the software is designing a notch filter, for example, to damp this frequency that we avoid the vibration. And the third one, we optimize the velocity controller, the gain. We consider the criterions of stability and get out the best result of the velocity loop as possible with the mechanical system.
So it's basically a complete package and everything is optimized more or less what could happen on the drive.
Yes, yes.
Now, one click, everything optimized, only little bit experience is needed. Now, how can customers get access to it? They buy a big package now, or what is the next step?
So, Roland, it is very important for us that the auto tuning is a basic and fundamental part of our motion solution, right?
Yeah.
And so it is integrated in the TwinCat Drive Manager 2, which is supporting our machine commissioners since several years for the drive tuning in general. There we add now a tab for the auto tuning, and then it is really this one-click stuff what we described, right?
Okay.
And this is free of charge because everyone needs it and makes fully sense for the experts, also as a starting point, right? But also for all the others which have not that deep knowledge.
Okay. But that means then, if this is so easy and free of charge, I need to have very specific drives to use this, or?
Yeah, that's true. We have it for different drives.
Okay, for which ones is it
Yeah,
available?
we have it also for older drives. So AX5000, you know,
Yes.
it's not the newest product we have. AX8000 and also the AMP8000 is supported in the first step. But also the 48-volt class will follow in the next months, and we try to develop this.
Well, excellent. Auto tuning will make its way into the TwinCat world, to the desk of our customers for all drives. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Now,
Welcome.
Now, if this is so easy, I think there's not much more to do. And it's easy because we integrate the function based on our knowledge and your requirements into our TwinCat system.
Not great news, but a strong tradition is that we always have the right software feature which helps you to utilize our hardware to the best possible extent. Pascal, I see an ELM module there. I know we have a lot of analog technology. So let's talk a little bit about what we can do for measurement.
Yes, that's right. In measurement, it is a real tradition to fit the hardware products with software products, right? So, for example, 12 years ago, we developed this EL3632 terminal where you can connect the acceleration sensors with IPI interface, for example. And then in the next step, we developed a TwinCat condition monitoring library for it, right? And in the next step, we had EL3773 for power monitoring, for example. And we developed TwinCat power monitoring library. And now we do something for our ELM35 series and our EL3356 terminals for the connection of load cells. because a load cell and a terminal makes no scale, and therefore we spent a piece of software, right? And this is a new TwinCAD weighing library.
Okay, that's very good that we are so enthusiastic about making the hardware even more usable for our customers by developing these libraries. But maybe let's talk a little bit about weighing. I guess that's not for the scale which is standing in my bathroom, right?
Yeah, no, not really, not really, no, no. It is, of course, also static weighing is possible with our library. It would be possible, but it's not our main focus. So the main focus is more the dynamic weighing. So where you have a conveyor belt, for example, and a production item passes through, right? And during this process, we make the weighing based on the load cells and so on. So this dynamic process, very often in packaging machine, but also in other filling processes where you have to measure the weight during the production time, right?
Okay, so that's, I think, the advanced weighing, I would say.
Yes.
When we talk about functionality, there's always different abstraction layers. So there's the absolute expert modes, the ones who really want to set the bits and bytes, every filter correctly. And then on top of that, we maybe have something which offers a little bit more of preset configurations. So maybe let's talk a little bit about the special features in the weighing library.
Yeah, in the weighing library, you're fully right. So the special feature or the core functionality is at first the signal filtering, right?
Okay.
This is very important because you believe if the conveyor belt and we have fluctuations, we have vibrations and all this stuff, then it's not that easy to find the best point to weight your production item, right? And therefore, this is the most important point, the filtering. You can see that here. So we get a very noisy signal from the terminal, and then we make the filtering and get the blue line, for example, right? And then we have a flat area, and in this flat area, we can really make the measurements, right? And then we can, because you have to be, especially if it is a dynamic weighing, you need to be quick by the filtering, very quick, and precise, right? That you have a precise measurement. And so this is very important. And a little bit what you said is these expert and maybe non-expert modes we often spend for our products. That is also a point. We have a function block. I would say it is a 70% solution, right? Where we make everything for you. So we make the complete filtering, all this stuff, right? And so this will be good and easy solution. And then we have a little bit more complex solution where you have different steps what you can do with the library, where we allowed you to spend your really specific filtering, right? Because you have a so special use case that we give you this possibility, right?
So it's basically a pyramid. So I have preset functionalities for people who are new or who just want a solution. We have expert functionalities for people who really want to dig in deeply. And then we have our own experts which actually can help with designing, for example, the filter which flattens this curve. So this is also something which we can do. Experts are always required because automation technology is very human. You already talked about many different product codes for analog terminals, and one who has been with these product codes for their entire development, or more or less their entire development, is standing now with Roland. This is Michael, so let's look what they have to say.